Good morning everybody, Calm Biker here again, and it's, oh look at it, isn't it lovely? Sun's a bit low because it's, what, 8:15 in the morning-ish, and it's a Wednesday. That's my day in the office, although it's my second day in the office this week. We are interviewing like crazy for new developers. So I've got 3 days in the office this week. 2 days just full of interviews. So we've got eight interviewees this week, and a whole bunch more coming up. Really difficult to find good developers. Mainly, I think, because most of them are already in jobs that they enjoy. So it's a tricky one. But anyway, that's not the point of this vlog. I did my first FRO vlog the other day. FRO log, whatever you want to call it. In fact, I did two. I did one ad hoc one on spitting. The first one was on kind of a bit of lying, I suppose. Telling porcupines, and that one was about when people say, oh, we've had a computer error, when what they mean is we've done it wrong. And this FRO is kind of similar as well. It's a bit of a thing about telling porcupines, not being entirely truthful. And in this one I'm saying, fluff right off, FRO, Weasel speak. Weasel speak from politicians particularly. If you've not come across the term weasel words before, I came across it first in a Dilbert book by Scott Adams. Well, it's just basically those words that are not quite lies, but they're definitely there to mask the truth. And you see it pretty much every time there's a politician on the TV or anybody who's kind of that politically minded. And it drives me up the wall because a lot of people pick up on these things. I mean, I've talked about stuff in my vlog about divide and conquer, but people pick up on these things and sometimes they get the message the politician wants them to get, rather than what might actually be the truth. So let's think of an example. I love the example that's going around at the minute about the number of people who are unemployed. So we get one side of the argument, the opposition side, saying, oh well, unemployment is a really big problem and it's getting worse. You know, look at all the youth unemployment, that's going up. And then you get the other side who say, ah yes, but we've got more jobs now than we've ever had. Yeah, there's more employment since we got into office than there was under the last administration. They actually say got into power. That drives me around the twist. We don't have that system in the UK. We have a government who is in office, not in power. The Queen is in power, not that she ever does anything with it. It'd be nice if she exercised that power occasionally and kicked out the odd government, wouldn't it? But anyway, off with their heads. But yeah, so those two phrases, neither of them is technically untrue. You know, youth unemployment potentially at the time it's said is increasing. I mean, youth unemployment, we have to remember, increases every June because they leave school. And suddenly we go from lots of people in school who are not classed as unemployed to lots of people who are unemployed because they haven't got jobs yet. Now there's very few that finish school one day and go into work the next. So that's quite handy when you want to pull up that argument. And then just generally youth employment is high, it's bad, you know. Though to be fair, so is unemployment in general. So, you know, why single out youth unemployment? is the suggestion that people who are a few years older somehow are less important for them to have jobs. I don't know. But on the other side, we get, whoever is the incumbent saying, yes, but employment is the highest it's ever been. And that's true too. I mean, it's pretty obvious when you actually start to look at the statistics and analyse it. There are more jobs, and there are also more people not working, because there's just more people. And generally, if you add people to the mix, if there's a percentage of people that's unemployed and you add people and the percentage stays the same, you're going to have both more unemployed and more employed. So it's that type of Weaseliness that grates every Thursday night when question time's on, although I tend to be watching it on a Friday now because Thursday nights tend to be hangout night. But other examples that always get me, when you talk about, everybody might remember the expenses scandal when we found out, as if we didn't know already, it was a stated policy, wasn't it? One of the worst kept secrets ever. But when we found out that politicians were cheating their expenses, and then we had people who would be challenged on TV by journalists saying, have you blah blah blah, have you bought a boat house, have you bought a duck house, or whatever it might be, how many toilet seats have you had, Mr. Prescott, all that kind of stuff. Now, what the response was to that one, and this is one of my all-time favourite pet hates, if you're asked something, did you murder that person last night? And you didn't. You say, no, I didn't. When if you ask, did you murder that person last night, you might be slightly more shocked. I mean, no, I didn't. Of course I didn't. What are you talking about? There's a handy little psychological trick. It doesn't work all the time, but it works a heck of a lot. It really works with politicians. If you ask somebody a yes-no question that potentially has blame attached to it, if people if people have got the right answer, the answer that is best for them, so did you murder that person? No, I didn't. Then generally people will just say no. If you're a politician and you're asked, did you buy X, Y or Z with expenses when you shouldn't have done, and you didn't, you will probably say no, with some indignation. With a politician, probably some fake indignation. But if you did buy that thing that you weren't supposed to buy with expenses, and this happened a heck of a lot, but nobody's managed to prove it yet, you can't really say no, because then you'll be seen as a liar. And if you do that in Parliament, in theory you're then supposed to be kicked out. It's actually very serious to lie to Parliament, which is why they have all these rules where people can essentially say anything they like as long as it's true. You can't sue somebody for slander or defamation, whichever one it is for speech. Must be defamation, mustn't it? If they say it in Parliament, because it would prevent people from saying what needed to be said, and also because people aren't supposed to lie. But if you did buy X, Y or Z and you can't say no, what do you say? And you see this with politicians all the time. You say, there's no evidence of that. Keep an eye out for that one. That's the other side of that psychological trick. When you want to detect, and this is only one way, but when you want to detect a lie from people on a simple yes-no, when they say no or yes straight out, they're probably, not always, but probably telling the truth. If they attack the evidence, then there's a pretty good chance that they're telling porky pies. So yeah, did you murder that person last night? You can't prove that. There's no evidence of that. Did you fiddle your expenses? Nobody has suggested that. Nobody has proven that. Where's your evidence? Any of that stuff? That's where there's a bit more digging to be done. Find the evidence. So yeah, it's that type of Weasley, not quite lying but not telling the truth either, that I think an FRO. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, everyone. ride safe, and I shall talk to you all again soon.